This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Well, if you're joining us here on streaming for the first time, thank you so much. So we're on from about 7 to 8, bringing you more local news and weather, everything you want.
Yeah, and hopefully a little bit more laid back, too, a little bit more conversational, too, because, hey, streaming is a little bit different.
Yeah. And for anybody heading out today, plan ahead for, yes, using your sunglasses, but keep the rain gear nearby just in case you are one of the lucky few to get a downpour. We already had a few pass through the area earlier this morning. Now we're just seeing those mid to upper level clouds overhead, and overall making for a gorgeous morning. A beautiful shot in our SkyTrack camera right now in Jeffersonville looking towards downtown Louisville. You can certainly see those thicker clouds for areas further to the south. The storm tracker also still out on the roads, traveling right now through portions of southern Indiana, just hopping off of 64 and getting into 150, I think, in that area. So overall, yes, we're seeing those clouds drifting on through, but at least we're not dealing with any rain in our region for right now. You can see where we're a little bit cooler this morning, mainly in southern Indiana, anywhere from parts of North Vernon towards Paoli, dealing with those low to mid 60s, while we're seeing 70s further to the south, and that's because of that front that's set up in our area. So this is why we're seeing more of that muggy and sticky air further to the south, but lower humidity right now in southern Indiana. But everybody at least climbing into the 80s and low 90s this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds and those small rain chances. I'll talk about today's rain chances and a better chance for storms tomorrow in just a bit.
Thank you, Tawana. So we have those practice rounds going on still. A chance for some of the best golfers to get out there before the ISCO Championship officially starts.
And right now they're focused on those practice rounds, getting a feel for the course. And Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote is out there live this morning. Good morning, Kirsten.
Hey, Olivia, Shannon, good morning to you guys. We're starting to get a few more golfers coming out here, filing in, getting ready for those practice rounds, kicking off day 2 of ISCO Champion Week. And so day 1 yesterday, it was a big day, all day long. Some of the world's best golfers took to the course, getting in a practice round, like we said. And we saw a few familiar faces, including Campbellsville's own J.B. Holmes, who was on the course, and also St. X grad Steven Stallings. Now, this was Stallings' 6th time playing in this tournament. He's a UK grad, and he played in this event when it was near Lexington, but he says this time is special because it's in his hometown.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, I'm so excited. I don't know. I don't have words for it. It's just such super cool. Never really dreamed that a PGA Tour event could be in Louisville, and now it's here. I'm so excited to see how it plays out this week and for continued success.
And he practiced with fellow St. X grad Brendan Doyle, who received a sponsor's exemption to play in the tournament. And in all, there are 5 St. X grads playing in this weekend's tournament. And Brendan Doyle's younger brother, Drew, he found out just yesterday that he qualified for this tournament. So it is going to be a family affair on Thursday when this tournament tees off. And that's going to be the first time that the public can get out here, too. Tournament runs Thursday through Sunday. Shannon, Olivia, back to you guys.
Kirsten, thank you. This morning, 12 jurors in Bowling Green will begin to deliberate to try to come to a conclusion on if Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson are guilty or innocent. It's all in connection to Bardstown mother Crystal Rogers' presumed murder.
Both sides wrapped up closing arguments yesterday. Now the case is in the hands of the jury. In yesterday's closing arguments, the defense attacked prosecutors and vice versa. And Joseph Lawson's attorney, Robert Boyd, described the case against his client as a witch hunt. Boyd tried to discredit witnesses like Charlie Girdley, a former employee of Houck's, and Heather Snellen, the former girlfriend of Lawson's father, Stephen, saying they're 2 of the more untrustworthy witnesses he's ever heard in court. Houck's attorney argued there's a, quote, overriding directive to pin Rogers' murder on him, going so far as to call the case garbage. Attorney Brian Butler highlighted the lack of physical evidence in this trial, saying that after 10 years of investigation, no body, murder weapon, or crime scene has ever been found. We asked Wave News legal analyst about the impact of these final arguments, including witness statements on the jury deliberations. Now, Commonwealth prosecutors also spoke Monday, and Shane Young used it to tell the jury to use their, quote, God-given common sense. Young laid into the gaps of Houck's inconsistent timeline of where he went and who he saw on the days after Rogers disappeared. Young also described some of Houck's behavior as sinister for a reason, such as recording grand jury statements, dodging family phone calls, seemingly not urgently looking for his girlfriend, Crystal Rogers. All things prosecutors say are not right.
So they're trying to sew things up for the jury and use the breadcrumbs that are most favorable to them to lead them to the result or the end of the story they want. And there's going to be two different stories. From the prosecution defense, that's one thing I would guarantee. Because all the specials and all the oxygen things and the
documentary
specials, everything you've seen, and now the two trials themselves, you don't really get a taste of everything because we can't watch it. And so the jury has watched every second of it, and I'm curious what their impressions will be. And as far as predicting which way they're going to go, I think it's difficult. I don't think this one is clear, and that doesn't mean that it's pro-defense or pro-prosecution, but it's certainly not a slam dunk either way.
Jury deliberations are scheduled to start at 9:30 this morning Eastern Time. We'll bring you updates on court proceedings, and you can follow along through our newscast through the day or check out the live blog on our website, wave3.com.
Right now, Shively police are looking for a man they say shot and killed 2 women. Police are looking for any information on LaBradford Ward. Investigators say he shot and killed Santia Simmons and Amaya Cox at a home off Kingswood Way early yesterday morning. Police also say Ward and Simmons had a documented history of domestic violence. Neighbors we spoke to say the chaos woke them up in the night.
I just hope and pray that we don't come to this again, see this again. Because it's all, this is just a shocker. I have never seen nothing like this in this neighborhood as long as I've been.
Officers say Ward is considered armed and dangerous, so if you see him, do not approach him and call police.
Indiana's Supreme Court has set a date to execute a man convicted of raping and murdering a 15-year-old girl. Justices set Roy Lee Ward's execution for October 10th. Ward was sentenced to death in 2007 for the death of Stacey Payne in 2001. Prosecutors say Ward pretended he was looking for a lost dog and convinced Payne to let him into her Spencer County home. Ward's lawyers have requested the state release information on its lethal injection drugs. Governor Mike Braun said Indiana has depleted its supply of the drugs last month. Ward's lawyers argue buying those drugs without public bidding violates state law.
It'll be more than 2 weeks before people can visit a Jeffersonville Park again. Richard Vissing Park near 10th Street will stay closed until July 25th. City leaders say work crews need to repair a sewer line.
Measles cases have surged to a record high since the disease was declared eliminated in the U.S. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, there have been more than 1,200 confirmed cases of measles this year so far. Most of those have been in Texas. 3 people have died. All were unvaccinated.
And some of those cases have been confirmed in both Kentucky and Indiana. As of last check, there were 8 cases reported in Indiana. Kentucky has seen a total of 7 cases so far this year. Measles was first declared eliminated in the U.S. back in 2000. If cases continue to grow because of the outbreak, though, through January, the U.S. could lose its measles elimination status.
Well, still to come this morning on Sunrise Extra, a bar that's been in trouble recently will soon be reopening.
Here when 21st in Germantown is planning to reopen and when you can attend a welcome back party coming up.
Just so sad at what has been going on in Texas, and the search for dozens of missing people is still underway there after the devastating flash floods. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says more than 20 agencies are responding.
The death toll is increasing, but so are the stories of heroic rescues. Amy Kiley reports on just some of the many people who've helped save lives.
I've lost 2 friends. We loved them.
It's kind of frustrating to get one answer back.
And they're gone.
More than 100 people are dead after catastrophic floods in central Texas. But that number would be higher without heroic rescuers. One is a father who died saving his daughter.
Joel held on to him and prayed over his family and did his very best to hang on as long as he could.
The owner of this devastated RV park recalls banging on doors and helping residents through the water. She says her husband nearly died in the river.
My husband kept yelling at him, throw your baby at me. And at that point, a big wave came by and they both got swept away.
Some survivors from camps along the river praise their counselors for thinking quickly.
They moved the boys from their lower bunks to then the upper bunk, and then ultimately hoisted them up into the rafters.
Camp Mystic is where more than 24 children and counselors died. One Coast Guard swimmer says he gave up his spot in a helicopter to fit more children on board.
It's fresh like spring.
Now he's credited with helping save 165 children rescued from the camp.
I've never seen anything this tragic in my life.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
That Coast Guard swimmer is new to his role. He says Camp Mystic was his first ever mission. Scary stuff there coming out of Texas, too. How are they looking with the forecast, though?
Thankfully, a lot drier today. It's more of the eastern part of the state that's going to get more of the heavy rain today, but that part of the state, drier, and that should allow those crews to be out and doing a little bit more with that. But it's just the fact that it was overnight, that heavy rain that came through that area. So sad. So for them, they have quiet weather. For us, we have quieter weather coming into our forecast. We still have this front that is going to be sitting over us throughout the day. So this is why we could still have a couple of those isolated downpours. But as of right now, it does look like the better rain chance is off towards our south. We do have some clouds drifting along that front to start off the day, and they have made for some pretty interesting sunrises across the region this morning. But now that sun has been up for about an hour, and we're just watching it gradually getting over more of those clouds. You can see there off into the distance as the storm tracker is traveling on 64 heading back towards downtown Louisville. On our SkyTrack camera, you can see those same clouds and a couple of them trying to build a little bit more off towards the south of the metro. But overall temperatures today sitting in the 60s for those of you further to the north in southern Indiana, 70s across Kentucky. And part of the reason that we have that discrepancy in temperatures is because of those clouds that were overhead for those of you further to the south, and the fact that north of this front, we are seeing lower humidity in Indiana, while it's still very muggy and sticky across Kentucky. So the placement of that front is going to play a big role in what we see for today. But overall, we're talking about that mix of sun and clouds, mainly mid to upper level clouds as we head throughout the day. Highs in the upper 80s and low 90s, a few isolated downpours here and there. Now, for those of you who see the downpours, while most of us stay dry, keep in mind those downpours can produce some very heavy rain as they move on by. So that's something I want to make sure that you're aware of. We'll fall right back down into the 60s and low 70s for the overnight hours. And then for tomorrow, we'll talk about some more of these showers and thunderstorms in our forecast. It does look like another wave of energy is going to ride along the front on Wednesday, bringing that better potential for showers and thunderstorms tomorrow morning into the afternoon. And then we'll dry out as we get further into your Wednesday afternoon with highs in the 80s for most of us. Now, we still see that isolated rain chance lingering into Wednesday night, but as we get into early Thursday morning, some drier weather trying to come our way then, and even can see some patchy fog. So with tomorrow's rain chance, some of you could see anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to an inch of rain. It just will depend on where we see more of those storms setting up shop. With the front still nearby on Thursday, yes, and more of those scattered storms in our forecast, but it mainly looks to be an afternoon and evening issue, just a typical summer pattern where we see those storms popping in the afternoon, fading once the sun goes down. Isolated rain chances for Friday, so most of us on the drier side then. We'll add back in some additional scattered storms thunderstorms for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. And that one dry day we have towards Wednesday, that is when we can see those temperatures rebounding into the low to mid 90s before we drop down just a bit as we add back in those rain chances for the end of next week.
Thanks, Tawana. Months after a dam failure shut down a connection between Clarksville and New Albany, crews are finally working to reopen the bridge.
Before that can happen, the Blackston Mill Lowhead Dam on Silver Creek has to be removed. The Blackston Mill Bridge closed after floods damaged the dam earlier this year. Officials say the goal is to have the bridge open within months, but first, the dam needs to be removed. Work started yesterday, which is expected to take 5 more days and will then be followed by weeks worth of repairs to the existing bridge. The closure has impacted the roughly 20,000 drivers who use the bridge daily, as well as nearby businesses. So the decision to take away the dam and repair the bridge is coming at a good time for them.
The dangers that are presented by low-head dams create an immediate safety issue. We recognize that. That was something that we wanted to take care of as quickly as what we could, and this was just the right time to do it.
Construction of a new bridge with wider lanes, sidewalks, and less likely to flood is scheduled to start in October and finish sometime in 2028. County commissioners have already committed $120,000 for repairs on the existing bridge over the next 2 years.
A Louisville bar, which investigators say sold alcohol to minors, is reopening later this week. In a Facebook post, 21st in Germantown says it's throwing a welcome back party Wednesday. The Shelby Street bar was forced to close after Metro ABC officers caught several minors drinking on the property last month. The bar owners pleaded guilty to code violations and paid $10,000 in fines. Metro ABC also took away the bar's 4 a.m. liquor license. It will now close at 2 a.m. Charlestown police believe more victims will come forward after a man was arrested for running a scam.
Police accuse him of running a scheme to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars. Shiawa Leo is charged with theft, fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. Police say he tricked a Charlestown man into giving him $27,000 from his retirement account. Leo was arrested with a suitcase full of money trying to board a flight at Muhammad Ali International Airport. Detectives also say he's connected to similar fraud cases in Indiana, Ohio, New Mexico, and Tennessee.
We feel like we're probably going to have some victims that were in Illinois, Kentucky, and maybe even some more in Indiana and Ohio that we just haven't found yet.
So far, investigators say Leo stole more than $300,000 from his victims. A man charged with murder after a Bullitt County shooting is set to appear in court for a preliminary hearing. 34-year-old Kent Russell is charged with the shooting death of 33-year-old Aaron Welker. Kentucky State Police say it happened late last month. Welker was shot in the head. Russell is in jail with a $1 million bond. He's set to appear in court at 10:30 this morning.
A Southern Indiana woman who admitted to being under the influence during a crash that killed her 2 young children is now facing a new DUI charge. Court records show Erica Fouch was arrested and charged with DUI in Du Bois County July 1st. In June of 2017, Fouch was high on meth and THC when she drove onto train tracks along State Road 160 in Henryville, and a train hit her car, killing her 2 children, 4-year-old Wyatt and 5-year-old Adeline. She pleaded guilty to charges of causing a death while under the influence in 2018. She is scheduled to be back in court on the new charges in Du Bois County July 29th.
Right now, a judge is mulling over throwing out Misty Knoll's plea deal. He says he's heard the wife of former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll make contradicting comments in media interviews she did before her sentencing. Misty Knoll was sentenced to 18 months in prison and probation last Thursday. In her sentencing, she apologized for spending more than $600,000 on New Chapel EMS credit cards. But in recent interviews she gave before that date, Misty maintained she was innocent. Special Judge Larry Medlock filed an order yesterday challenging her stance. He wants Knoll to explain why she shouldn't be held in contempt of court for providing false testimony at her change of plea. The order also requests a hearing to go to trial to have a jury decide.
Well, you may see people a little bit distracted at work today.
Maybe some of us
Maybe
here.
some. Because Amazon Prime Days officially start today.
We'll tell you how long you can expect to get deals this week, coming up next. No, well, some of us have already been on our phones looking at this because Amazon's popular Prime Days start today.
Are you telling on us?
You know, we have commercial breaks.
That's true, we do. The e-commerce giant enters its second decade now of hosting the annual summer sale event. So it hasn't changed this year. It's going to run Prime Day now for 4 full days. Starts today, goes through Friday, July 11th. So that's twice the typical 48 hours. It's the first big change to their summer Prime Day festivities since 2017. When they changed that sale from 1 day to 2 days.
Heaven Hill Brands is further investing in Louisville with its brand new corporate office. The distillery brand says this new property on Hurstbourne Parkway will allow it to bring together employees from across the city for the first time in 7 years. Heaven Hill Brands is one of the largest family-owned spirits companies. Bourbon brands under the Heaven Hill umbrella include Evan Williams and Elijah Craig.
We are proud to continue investing in Kentucky, in our people, in our brands, and in the communities we all call home.
Heaven Hill is also celebrating its 90th year in operation this December.
The Fat Friday Trolley Hop is making a return to Louisville this summer. It took a 6-year break. It was last held in 2019. It's a celebration of the Clifton and Crescent Hill neighborhoods and the small businesses, too. The first hop will be on Friday, July 25th, followed by 2 others, October 24th and May 29th of next year. The free trolley rides will run in loops from the Melwood Art Center along Frankfort Avenue and Brownsboro Road from 4 to 9 p.m. So you can jump on and off, stop, do some shopping. You can eat at some of the restaurants that'll have special promotions and discounts too. You can ditch your car and ride your bike around Louisville for Cycluvia. It's going on this Sunday. This time it's returning to Frankfort Avenue. You can walk, bike, run, or skate from 2 to 6 p.m. and you don't have to worry about any cars at that time too, so that's nice. Cycluvia will run down Frankfort Avenue from Pope Street down Stilts Avenue. Cars can still cross at Ewing Avenue. LMPD will be there watching traffic to make sure everyone can get across safely. That might be something fun to do on Sunday because you don't have to worry about cars, so that makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, with some nice weather, I'm sure it'll be nice and refreshing, get you moving on your day off of work.
I might do that. We're going to be back with more local news right after this break.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Today, the community in Henry County can support small businesses that lost everything in a fire. The McDonald's in Eminence is hosting a fundraiser to support Johnson & Company Flooring. The business on Main Street was damaged during a fire last week. No one was hurt. The McDonald's will donate 20% of its sales between 5 and 8 tonight to the flooring company's owners. Let's go to Tawana, taking a look at the weather.
And for today, we are seeing clouds clearing out of our region, but we're also watching one lonely shower that just popped for those of you just to the north of Litchfield. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that as it tries to track towards Hardin County. The rest of us, though, dry this morning with a mix of sun and clouds overhead. Your temperatures range from 64 degrees in Bedford to 76 at the airport in Louisville to 72 for those of you in E-Town, Munfordville, and Litchfield. As we head throughout the day, yes, there remains that potential for an isolated downpour or two from this morning into the afternoon and evening. Most of us, though, going to see a mix of sun and clouds with highs today in the upper 80s and the low 90s. In terms of your roads this morning, not a lot to slow you down. We were watching some of that patchy fog in portions of southern Indiana, but in the metro, not seeing much of that going on. Not even a lot of slow speeds as of right now, just a touch slow on Bardstown Road as you're getting closer to the Snyder there. Looking ahead to the next 10 days, what we'll be dealing with in terms of rain chances, more of those showers and thunderstorms on your Wednesday. Once again to Thursday, we keep that chance for scattered storms around. Friday, mainly an isolated rain chance, so a lot of us drier then with highs in the upper 80s and the low 90s. As you get further into the weekend and next week, we're going to keep some sort of rain chance in our forecast as we deal with highs yet again in the upper 80s and the low 90s.
Thanks for sticking with us here on Sunrise Extra. Well, we have heard a couple of weeks of testimony in the Crystal Rogers case, and now things are starting to wrap up. So we sat down with our legal analyst, Leland Holbert. He gives us some more insight into the state's possible decision and why we haven't seen a lot from the lawyers of Joseph Lawson throughout this trial.
Do you think the state made its case?
I think that that's up to the jury, and I'm not chickening out on the answer. I'm just saying I think this is going to be a close one. I think a lot of people thought they would like to see how the first trial went, and that was guilty. It surprised some people. This trial, I think there's been more of a defense case, more defense witnesses, more paid experts, more things to muck it all up. But there's also been some experience by the prosecution on how the first trial went, and now they're going after two and not just one. So I think this is I was telling Jose earlier, this would be very interesting to see what the jury thinks when this is all over.
I never understood throughout this trial how come we weren't hearing much about Joseph Lawson and from his attorney, but it makes a lot of sense now. And you said they kind of kept him in the shadows. Explain that whole thing to me.
Well, Brooks Houck is the name that everyone associates with this murder, whether he did anything or not. And if I'm representing Joseph Lawson, I want to be in the shadows. I want to be in the background. I don't necessarily want to point the finger at Houck. I want to say that none of us did it and your case is weak. But also, they're accentuating their client's idiocy. They're saying he's foolish, an alcoholic, you know, and he's got issues. So if anyone did this, it's the mastermind. It's Brooks Houck. It's the wealthy guy. It's the good business guy, the one who had a personal relationship with Crystal. He can say all that without saying any of it and just stay in the shadows and claim his client really has no business being here, and I think that's his strategy.
So the jury heard more about Brooks Houck than they really did Joseph Lawson.
Well, and Houck's family and all these unindicted co-conspirators, and the central figure has been Houck for years, and I think a defense attorney for Lawson is not going to get in the way of that.
So when the jury deliberates, your time in the courtroom, you know, time length, what, if it takes a long time or if it's too quick, I mean, what does that usually indicate?
You know, every jury's different, but usually if they come back in less than 2 hours, I mean, they have to sit down. It depends on whether or not they get a lunch break. And this case is very odd. I've never seen a jury that started deliberating the next morning. So they've already had a 3-day break, and now they have this long day of closings. They're probably tired, and I understand why the judge gave them a break, but I always look at it like they're in the bubble the moment closing arguments are over. And you should maintain that bubble, and they should make a decision without outside influences. Well, now you're breaking the bubble. They're going home. They'll come back in 12, 15 hours, whatever it is, and then they'll start talking. And I'm just not sure if it's definitely not normal. Now, who does it help? That's hard to say. But to answer your original question, I would say the shorter the verdict, it tends to show how strongly the jury felt about that verdict.
Okay. All right, Leland, thank you so much.
And we are all awaiting that verdict. But in the meantime, we continue to dissect the latest updates in this case, updating our live blog. We update it multiple times a day. Even includes courtroom sketches from our sketch artist, Sydney Young. You can find that over on our website, wave3.com. And the city says a so-called white supremacist march that took place in Louisville on Saturday did not have a permit to do so. A viewer sent us this video showing a group of people waving variations of American flags and Confederate flags, holding what appear to be riot shields marching through downtown Louisville. The display drew concern across the city. Both the Louisville branch of the NAACP and Mayor Craig Greenberg spoke out against the march. Metro Emergency Services says typically a permit is not required when expressing the First Amendment right to free speech to assemble, but that's only if the gathering does not go against all traffic and other laws. Metro Emergency Services confirmed that the march went against city code. They responded in a statement pointing out the infraction, saying in part, quote, they were in fact interfering illegally with traffic. It appeared they were still crossing the street in mass after the traffic light had changed to green for traffic heading east on Liberty Street, crossing South 7th Street. One Kentucky Sheriff's Office is worried a new state law could lead to more deadly crashes with ATVs and other off-road vehicles. Rowan County Sheriff Matt Sparks says there's an alarming trend with 4 such deadly accidents across the Commonwealth within the last week. The new state law makes special purpose vehicles like ATVs street legal once they pass inspection by law enforcement. Sheriff Sparks says he's worried other drivers won't respect these vehicles.
You know, just like motorcycles, you know, when motorcycle versus car, it's usually the motorcycle operator comes out with the worst injuries.
Supporters of the new law have argued it will increase tourism to more parts of rural Kentucky. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Wave Now right after this. Well, it has officially been 1 week since JCPS got a new superintendent. Dr. Brian Yearwood is now at the helm of the district, and he says the district is ready for the start of the new school year. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia Franceschini got the chance to speak to him yesterday as he visited one of our schools.
All right, give me 5.
14. Good job, Shawnee.
That's good. That's good. That's a good young man.
As he meets with students and teachers in JCPS's Summer Success League, Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood says his goal for his first school year as district leader is to ensure every student experiences a minimum of a year's worth of growth in a year's time.
That means that if I'm in 5th grade and I'm reading on a 2nd grade level, at the end of the year, I must be at a 3rd grade level.
Dr. Yearwood says the district is already poised to have a successful start to the school year. That's because he doesn't anticipate transportation to be an issue this time around.
So what happened in the past was, of course, there weren't enough bus drivers to fill the positions. I don't think we have that to worry about. And from my understanding, we have bus drivers that have been recruited, that are excited, that are ready to go.
You can do it. You can do it. You got it.
But the new superintendent does say he has one major concern right now.
Okay.
Funding and potential budget cuts.
It is somewhat of a daunting time.
At a recent Board of Education meeting, the district announced it would cut close to $100 million from its upcoming budget. And in 2 years, they'll need to cut another $50 million. Dr. Yearwood says right now he's trying to understand what created this budget deficit.
We have to figure this out because 98,000 students are relying on us to do that.
But as they look at where to cut, Dr. Yearwood says instructional environment is off limits.
You enjoying it? You getting it?
Saying he wants a district where students are valued and teachers' voices are heard.
We must ensure that regardless of whatever cuts are made, it does not take away from a high quality learning environment. That I will not have.
And as so many of us know, lawmakers in Frankfort and JCPS haven't really gotten along in recent years, but Dr. Yearwood said he has appointments set to meet with those legislators soon. He says he's ready to speak with them, to listen and come up with some positive solutions for the district together. Baptist Health Floyd is helping teachers get ready for the school year. This Saturday, they'll be holding their annual Stuff the Ambulance event. They're asking people to come by and donate tissues, Clorox wipes, pencil boxes, and other supplies. The event will run from 11 to 3 at their outpatient parking lot on State Street. There will also be a dunk booth, some face painting, food trucks, and therapy dogs, so plenty of fun to be had out there, too. And the weekend after that, Community Action of Southern Indiana is helping kids get ready to return to class as well. They'll be hosting their back-to-school resource fair on Saturday, July 19th. They'll be providing backpacks filled with supplies along with dental screenings plus some immunizations. That'll be from 9 to noon at their facility on East 15th Street. An update now on the work being done on River Road. Crews are about halfway done with an ongoing water line project. Louisville Water says 50% of the pipe has been installed. Right now, teams are finishing work between Blankenbaker Lane and Lime Kiln. Crews hope to have the project finished by the end of next summer, and I know people are ready for that work to be done. A new $130 million plan wants to transform the look of traffic on the Watterson Expressway between Shelbyville Road and I-71. The project includes new lanes, new ramps, and pavement upgrades, plus updates to Westport Road and Brownsboro Road. The State Transportation Cabinet says more than 70,000 drivers use this interchange every day. The full plan should be completed by fall of 2027. Well, right now, you can find a new best friend for free with the help from Louisville Metro Animal Services. The agency is hosting its yearly Empty the Shelters event. All pets are free to adopt because of a donation from the Bissell Pet Foundation. You can go into the shelter and find a new pet now through July 19th. Metro Animal Services is open daily until 6 o'clock. And just look at those sweet faces. Who doesn't want one of those? Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the U.S. According to the CDC, one person dies from it every 33 seconds. However, there's a new study that suggests many people who are eligible for medication to lower cholesterol aren't actually taking it. Mandy Gaither talks to the study's author and the reasons why patients might not be getting this treatment.
Every year in the U.S., about 805,000 people have a heart attack.
and more than 795,000 men and women have a stroke. But there are medications to reduce the risk of both.
Despite the benefits of these treatments for high cholesterol, they're underutilized.
Dr. Caleb Alexander with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is lead author of a study that analyzed 5,000 U.S. adults. About half of those studied were eligible to take medication to lower cholesterol, but only about 23% of the patients who had never had a major cardiovascular event were taking the medicine to reduce risk of one. And of those who have had a major event, only about 68% were taking the medication.
These treatments include statins, which many people may be familiar with. These drugs are safe and effective and have been on the market for many, many years. But there are also newer treatments.
Alexander says there are many reasons people aren't taking cholesterol-lowering medication. Many are undiagnosed and skip yearly checkups so they don't know they have high cholesterol. Others may not feel they need treatment or are unable to afford it. And others don't remember to take the medicine consistently.
Tens of thousands of heart attacks and tens of thousands of strokes could be prevented each year if people were receiving treatment for high cholesterol that's in accordance with the best expert guidelines.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Alexander says he hopes this research will encourage patients and well, it's summertime, and something I know I was craving yesterday was some ice cream. And good news here, Graeter's Ice Cream celebrating the height of summer with its fourth bonus flavor of the Bake Shop season, and it's pineapple passion fruit sorbet. Yum. The non-dairy flavor features the natural sweetness of juicy pineapple, balanced with its taste of Peruvian passion fruit. The new flavor is now available and will be in stores through August. But hey, get it now because once the flavor is gone, it's retired for the year. So fans are encouraged to try it while it lasts. Graeter's also has recently launched their Pineapple Paradise frozen drink that's available at Graeter's shops through August 31st. I usually just stick with your typical cookies and cream though. Can't go wrong with that. This is a sweet treat that may have been part of your Independence Day celebration. Today gets its own day. It's National Freezer Pop Day. The class different colors and tasty flavors. They've been around for decades and been a staple of summer picnics, parties, chilling by the beach or pool, or maybe just hanging out in the cooler. And with the summer heat kicking into high gear, no better way to enjoy a freezer pop, that's for sure. But festival goers, get your calendars out because Nulu Summerfest is coming back this year. That'll be happening on Saturday, July 19th. The festival will offer all kinds of fun, including a watermelon eating contest, live music, entertainment, food trucks, local restaurants, so much more happening there. You can catch the festival from noon until 7 p.m. It is free and open to the public. For more information about the festival, just go over to nulu.org/Summerfest. This weekend, you can take part in the Metro's pickleball event. It's happening this Saturday on East Main Street. There will be 12 pickleball courts, food trucks, drinks, live music, and more. That starts at 8:30 a.m. The cost will vary depending on what division you play, but to register, just head over to visit louisvilledowntown.org, and I'll tell you, there's some tough competition out there too. Last year, they were really impressive. Well, the Demling family, that's typically known as the first family of golf when it comes to this city, and two of them will now be playing in the ISCO Championship this weekend. Brendan Doyle is the grandson of Mo Demling, who was inducted into the Kentucky Golf Hall of Fame in 2020. He's making his PGA Tour debut after receiving a sponsors exhibition, and he found out during his wedding rehearsal, making the moment even more special. Meanwhile, his younger brother Drew qualified for the ISCO Championship and a tournament at the Cardinal Club just this week.
It's pretty cool. I had a feeling he's been playing really good lately. I had a feeling he was going to play good today, but yeah, I mean, to see him shoot 8 under and make it through like that to win it, I mean, that's pretty cool. You know, we push each other every day. So, I mean, you know, when we're home in Florida too, I mean, we play together all the time. It's, you know, we're pretty even. So we were definitely talking about this week, you know, him getting in would be really cool.
Now, the Doyles are 2 of 5 St. X grads who are playing in the ISCO Championship. Clearly, St. X has a great golf program. So Dan Eisman, Cooper Musselman, who also was able to play after qualifying earlier this week, and Steven Stallings are the other 3 former Tigers to qualify. Stallings, who is playing in his 6th ISCO Championship, has been playing professionally since 2018.
I'm pretty used to it. I mean, it's a little bit different just being here. But other than that, like, to me, it's another week, but I love it. Like, it's so much fun. The adrenaline going through, there's nothing quite like it.
And we are excited to catch him out there. I also have to give a shout out to Cooper Musselman. I also know him too. So a lot of familiar faces that will be out there competing in the ISCO Championship. And one person who knows a little something about big events is ESPN anchor Michael Eaves. He's from the western part of the state and has plenty of family in Louisville. He even graduated from UK. Wave Sports Director Kendrick Haskins talked to Eaves over Zoom as SportsCenter prepares to come to town as part of its 50-state tour. And he says Louisville hosting the ISCO Championship is big for the entire state.
The state really gets behind it. And we have some tremendous golf courses in the state of Kentucky as well. So it's no surprise that the PGA Tour would have an event in Kentucky on a regular basis. Now that it's in Louisville this week, I think it'd be a really good showcase for that venue as well as opposed to being in Lexington.
So if you want to head out, check it out. Good news here, tickets are still available. More practice rounds are slated for today. The Pro-Am is on Wednesday, and then the opening round of the tournament is on Thursday. But hey, if you're heading out there, a heads up, that usually means there are some traffic issues over near Hurstbourne Country Club. Shuttles will carry fans to the golf course. They'll be picked up and dropped off at U of L's Shelby campus. LMPD says drivers should expect delays near Shelbyville Road and other intersections near the course. There is no on-site parking, but Thursday is the first day that fans can come out to the course. And good news here, though, the U of L Shelby campus is right across the street, so you're not being shuttled across town. Well, as heartbreaking images and stories continue to emerge from flood-ravaged Central Texas, professional sports teams across the Lone Star State are stepping up, pledging millions to help victims recover and rebuild. The Houston Astros are contributing $1 million to relief efforts, also mobilizing fans and resources to support recovery. The NFL Foundation with the Dallas Cowboys and Houston Texans have pledged $1.5 million to flood victims. The NBA, alongside the Mavericks, Spurs, and Rockets, is pitching in more than $2 million, while the Texas Rangers are adding another $1 million to the recovery effort. The support comes as the death toll has now surpassed 100 people. Well, with Taylor Fritz already in the quarterfinal, Ben Shelton had a chance to do something yesterday that's not happened since 2000. That is, having 2 American men in the Wimbledon quarterfinal in the same year. The last time that happened was in 2000 when there were 3 American men that made it. He had a scare, though, early on as he dropped the first set, but then, hey, he picked it up from there, winning the next 3 sets, winning the match by 3-1. He will be back in action tomorrow. So exciting. I know a lot of people there are watching Wimbledon. Well, thanks so much for joining us for Wave Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.